On February 17, 2023, the federal government announced the next step in the procurement for high-frequency rail, with the launch of the request for qualifications. Interested parties will now demonstrate their interest into becoming the development partner for HFR and their expertise to deliver on such a complex project. In the previous video, we introduced Alstom's proposal to bring high-speed trains to the corridor. But this time, let's focus on what is HFR and what it means for the corridor. The main goal of HFR is to make passenger rail considerably more attractive to Canadians by offering more departures, shorter travel times, and reliable service along the corridor. Most tracks in the corridor are owned and operated by freight operators, such as Canadian National, which not only prioritizes their own trains, but also try to reduce maintenance and operation costs to a minimum. As such, tracks are built to a lower speed and quality standard than modern passenger tracks and require the trains to fit in between the various scheduled freight trains, often leading to considerable delays along the way. Such arrangements have always been seen by VIA as a main obstacle in their ability to attract more passengers. In 2015, VIA Rail introduced their HFR proposal to help overcome those challenges and is the basis of the current project. HFR would operate on dedicated passenger tracks between Quebec City and Toronto, reducing the reliance on freight operators and their own tracks. Instead of building an entirely new corridor, their plan is to acquire a right-of-way along the north shore of the St. Lawrence and a similar one between Smithsville and Peterborough to create a second corridor with updated tracks and a more direct alignment whenever possible. This approach would allow for more trains throughout the network and, as a result, make it a more attractive option to passengers due to increased flexibility. VIA's original estimate were around $3 billion at the time, with construction to start in 2019, should funding be provided by the government. VIA continued to promote and push for the project over the coming years. In 2019, a joint project office was launched between VIA Rail, the Canadian Infrastructure Bank, and Transport Canada to further develop and study the proposal. In 2021, the federal government officially announced their interest into making high-frequency rail a reality. To do so, a procurement process was launched in April 2022 with a request for expression of interest. In October 2022, an update to the expression of interest indicated that more than 50 industry partners had signaled their interest and helped refine the scope of the project. This brings us to today. What is the current scope of HFR? Well, it is quite vague and opaque to any outsider. As part of the ongoing procurement, the federal government is looking for a private partner to build, design, finance, operate, and maintain high-frequency rail services, but also to take over existing rail service in the corridor. The partner would ultimately be responsible to create the most value for Canadians, while meeting the strategic objectives of HFR, which include the tripling of ridership along the corridor by 2059, more reliable and competitive travel times, more frequent service, and offer a more environmentally friendly way to travel to meet Canada's net zero objective. With the launch of the next step in its procurement, the scope of HFR has also been somewhat expanded to encourage private partners to develop and identify sections where speeds above 200 km an hour might be achievable and provide meaningful gains to travel time, suggesting more openness towards the possibility of high-speed rail in Canada, though it is very unlikely that the entire alignment will be built to high-speed standards. Some of the reasons are the additional costs, but also the complexity of achieving complete grade separation and the straighter alignment needed to achieve higher speeds. The new and upgraded tracks will extend between Quebec City and Toronto, reintroducing passenger service in Peterborough and Trois-Rivières, though the federal government is open to further additions should there be a viable business case for it. Wherever possible, tracks will be electrified to modern standards. Given how the procurement for HFR is structured, a lot of the details regarding its exact alignment, rolling stock, systems, and operations are, for the most part, left at the discretion of each bidder. Because most of the project will depend on the co-development phase, a lot of uncertainties and a lack of clarity remains about the project. We do hope this will change in the coming years, as more details about the selected proposal will become public. The request for qualifications will select up to 3 qualified bidders. They will have until April 24, 2023 to submit the necessary documents. Once completed, the request for proposal is expected to launch in the summer of 2023, with the selection of a private partner in summer 2024. At that point, the development phase will begin and last 3 to 4 years. Following the development phase, a final investment decision will be made by the federal government, assuming the project achieves the desired outcomes and affordability criteria set by the government. Construction will then begin on the more than 1,000 kilometers of tracks needed to build the alignment. The federal government expects the first trips on HFR to happen in the early 2030s, though the timeline will vary depending on the final scope of the project. While there are many years to go until we have a definitive plan for the future of passenger rail in the corridor, it is the first time in many decades that there is a genuine interest in investing in passenger rail as a viable, environmentally friendly, and efficient way to travel in the most populous region of Canada. We look forward to having more details to share in the future and to track its progress. Until then, make sure to subscribe to Railfans Canada so you do not miss our future content, and to join us as we explore the various rail projects throughout Canada.